All praise to the Most High, AHAYAH. This is Brother Holly here on the AHAYAH'S channel with the Spirit of Truth broadcast for this set-apart Sabbath day. All praise to the Most High, AHAYAH, for another wonderful day of rest. Children, it is beautiful but cold here in the state of Florida. So take your rest and just stay inside and meditate and fellowship with the Most High and His Word, and allow the Spirit of the Most High to bring the truth from the Word to your heart and be edified and uplifted by it. All praise. What the Most High has been talking to me about this week, and He has been talking to me about a lot of things, and I just give Him praise for that, is He showed me something that I had seen before, but I had forgotten, that who the Gentiles were that Paul, in whom you trust, was speaking to through his letters. Now I know that the Constantine Christians, shout out to Big Judah for bringing that term to my attention. Those who follow the edicts of Constantine, Sunday worship, the 25th of December being the Messiah's birthday, that kind of stuff. I just refer to them as the tithe-taking, pork chop eating, Sunday go to meeting people. The Constantine Christians would like you to believe that the Gentiles that Paul was writing to were everybody else of all the other nations. But that's not entirely accurate, and I can show you and prove that to you from the scriptures, and that's my endeavor today. So let's go. We're going to go first to Ephesians chapter 2, which is very popular with the Constantine Christians. And we're going to start reading at verse 10, Ephesians 2:10. For we are His creatures who are created in AHAYAH the Messiah for good works, those things which all there is had from the first prepared that we should walk in them. Now, where I see the word G-O-D in any Bible, including the Aramaic Peshitta, the Aramaic word for G-O-D is El-Ahah, and El-Ahah means all there is. I personally like that, and so I know not to say G-O-D because it's been subscribed to more idols than I can count. So I'll just say, when I see the word G-O-D, I'll just say all there is. And I know I'm right. And I'm not offending the Most High. All praise to Him. Verse 11. Because of this, be mindful that you Gentiles from the first were of the flesh, and that you were called uncircumcision by that which is called circumcision, and is a work of the hands in the flesh. Now, these so-called Gentiles were referred to by the circumcision as uncircumcision, or the uncircumcised. Now, that doesn't mean a thing to the uninitiated in the reading of the original covenant or the old covenant. But it does mean something when you know from the old covenant, that in the book of Jeremiah, the Most High referred to the house of Joseph as the uncircumcised of heart. And let's read that. Let's just turn back to Jeremiah chapter 9. And let's start reading at verse 25. It says, Behold, the days are coming, says the Most High, and I shall adjudicate everyone who is circumcised to be in uncircumcision. So the Most High is wiping out all circumcision and looking at everybody like they're uncircumcised. And He's going to tell you why. On Egyptian and upon Jews and upon Edom and upon the children of Ammon and upon Moab and upon all cutting the beard. I like that. In the Aramaic it says all who cut the beard. The Most High put in His word for men to not be clean shaven. As you can see, Brother Holly is being compliant with his beard. But here He's saying that these uncircumcised heathens are clean shaven. Who dwell in the wilderness, because all of the nations are uncircumcised in their flesh, and all of them of the house of Joseph are uncircumcised in their heart. Now, according to Deuteronomy chapter 10, I believe it's verse 12 through 14, the Most High gave his law, statutes, commandments, judgments, ordinances, and precepts to his people, all the children of Jacob, so that our hearts could be circumcised. And it is his law, statutes, commandments, judgments, ordinances, and precepts that circumcise our heart, that we would obey his voice. That's a sign of a circumcised heart. And he's saying here that the house of Joseph, you had two houses, house of Judah, house of Joseph. The house of Judah had a circumcised heart, for the most part. The house of all of the house of Joseph did not. All of them. They had completely gone over to heathenism, following after the heathens and the pagans. They were idolaters. They were not coming to feast. They were completely disobedient to the ways of the Most High. And he called them all in uncircumcision. All of them. They may have mercy on them. Y'all all right? I hope so. So let's see where the law is the circumciser of the heart. We got to turn to Jeremiah. So we stay in the same chapter. Jeremiah chapter 31. And the Most High is going to do something for the house of Judah and the house of Joseph that he never did for anyone else on the planet, even to this day. He wrote his laws in our hearts. Let's read it. Jeremiah 31:31. It says, "Behold, the days are coming, says the Most High, and I shall make a covenant with those of the house of Joseph and with those of the house of Judah, the new covenant. It is not like the covenant that I covenanted with their fathers in the day that I held their hands and brought them from the land of Egypt, because they have canceled my covenant, and I have also despised them, says the Most High. But this is the covenant that I shall establish with those of the house of Joseph after those days, says the Most High. I shall put my law within them, and upon their hearts I will write it. And I shall be to them the Most High, and those shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach again a man his brother and a man his neighbor, and say, Know the Most High, because all of them shall know me, from their little ones until their elders, says the Most High, because I shall forgive their debts, and their sins I shall not remember again." All praise. So the new covenant is having the law written in our hearts. And that law being in your heart and you obeying that internal law, not just a law, his law, he was going to write in our hearts. His laws, statutes, commandments, judgments, ordinances, precepts, write them in our heart that we may keep it. They were originally written on tables of stone. Now he's going to write them on fleshly tables of the heart, according to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Paul, in whom you trust, said that. So let's go to the book of Romans, where it speaks of how the effect of your applying or not applying the law that's written in your heart, child of Jacob, how that affects your status of being circumcised or uncircumcised of heart. It is the law, nothing else. His law, statute, command. It's commandment keeping that circumcises the heart. Let's see it in black and white. Paul, in whom you trust, wrote this. Now, you folks of the other nations, the Most High said in his word that the other people of the other nations are like a drop of water falling from a bucket and are counted as nothing before him. They're like dust on the scale. I didn't say that, that's what the Most High said. We're his covenant people. Those that have the law written in our hearts. And he didn't do that for everybody. He only did it for the house of Joseph, house of Judah. That's it. Romans chapter 2, let's start verse 12. For those who have sinned without the Torah law are also destroyed without the Torah law. And those who sinned with the Torah law will be judged by the Torah law. The hearers of the Torah law are not righteous ones before all there is. He who is all there is. But the doers of the law are justified. For if the Gentiles, or the uncircumcision, who have not the written law, would perform those things of the written law by their nature, while they have not the written law, they would be the written law to themselves. And here is the point. Here is how they're a written law to themselves. Verse 15. And show the work of the written law, or the Torah law, written on their heart. And their conscience testifies to them, while their reasoning rebukes or defends each one. Now, if the rendition of this sounds unfamiliar to you, I'm reading from this version of the scriptures, the Peshitta, the Aramaic. So I want to read Romans chapter 2, verse 24. It says, for the name of he who all there is blasphemed among the Gentiles, or the uncircumcision, because of you, according to what has been written. For circumcision is beneficial if you will perfectly observe the Torah law. But if you depart from the Torah law, your circumcision becomes uncircumcision. This is how the Most High sees your heart. And it's not talking about he's going to grow flesh back on you. If you're a man and been circumcised in the flesh, he's not going to grow flesh back on your private parts. And that's not what he's doing. He's going to uncircumcise your heart. He already said he would do it in Jeremiah chapter 9. But if he of the uncircumcision will observe the commandments of the Torah law, behold, is not the uncircumcision accounted for circumcision? And uncircumcision, which is by nature perfectly observes the Torah law, will judge you, who with the scripture and with circumcision violate the Torah law. He is not a Jew who is one outwardly, neither is that which is seen in the flesh circumcision. So your understanding of what circumcision is flawed, and we're correcting it today. All praise to the Most High. Verse 29. But he is a Jew who is in secret, and circumcision is that which is of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose glory is not from the children of men, but from he who is all there is. The one who made everything, the Creator, gave his law, statute, commandments, judgment, orders, and precepts to his people, the children of Jacob. And since they violated when he put it on tables of stone, he did them a one-up. He put that law within their hearts. And he called the action of putting that law within their hearts for them to obey. And he gave his spirit, according to Ezekiel 37, he gave his spirit to them, that law to us, gave that law to us, and gave his spirit to us, that we may obey that law and walk in it perfectly. That we may wear our white. We will have our fringes on. If you're a man, have your beard. If you stop eating dogs, hogs, and frogs, stop eating bats, cats, and rats, and start walking in all the truth, in both the old and the new covenants. All praise to the Most High, AHAYAH, and his son, Ashaya, the Messiah.